Good afternoon. We're back. My name is Donna, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show, where truth matters. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, beginning at, you know when it starts. It actually begins at 2 o'clock, and that is Eastern Time, Monday through Friday. And so we are in South Carolina right now, and so happy to be here. Continue sending emails. You don't know what that does for me. Donna at donnasedge.com. I appreciate you doing that. Some of our South Carolina and North Carolina friends are watching us right now. So we've got our Alabama folks and Texas. We've got folks from all over the place who are watching us right now. We definitely appreciate it. And everybody knows this who's ever watched this show. AP Steadham is the sports guy. He's the only one as far as I'm concerned. AP, thank you so much for being on the show. I appreciate your insights.
Hey, Donna, thank you so much for always having me on the show. It's been a lot of fun through the years, and we got another big day here in sports. We're over here in Atlanta for the College Football Playoff National Championship game between number 7 Notre Dame, 14-1, led by a quarterback from Fairhope, Alabama. So that's highly unusual, Riley Leonard. And they're facing the Ohio State Buckeyes, 13-2, 7-2 in the conference. And they're led by a quarterback who transferred from Kansas State, Will Howard. And I believe he's from Pennsylvania originally. But two Midwestern teams. Down to the ticket prices, I think will probably be record level because Notre Dame, has not won a title since '88. And it's been a few years or so for Ohio State as well. And they have very rabid and vociferous fan bases. And they're both here in Atlanta, which is going to be cold. It's going to be cold, but it's indoors. But it is cold in Atlanta, like everywhere else around the country.
Well, you don't always say in North Alabama, you're in hot Atlanta.
Right. That's right. Yeah. So, but it's a big day today in college football, the climax. And so from this 12-team playoff, we have, like I said, number 7 Notre Dame versus number 8 Ohio State.
Wow. I mean, this has been an amazing day. A new president coming in, and then this game is probably more insightful than the president coming in. It's crazy. So who is highly favored?
Right. Right now, Ohio State has the best roster in the country. And I say that because of their wide receivers. They have the sensational freshman Jeremiah Smith and 2 other ones as well, and 2 running backs. One running back transferred from Ole Miss who was all conference freshman and sophomore. He's from a small town in Alabama, Pike Road, Quinshon Judkins, and they have Travion Henderson, another good running back. Both of those running backs down, they have about 960 yards or so. They both, if they reach 40 or 50 yards tonight, could have 1,000 yards. They have one receiver, Jeremiah Smith, already 1,200 plus yards. The other receivers around 900 something. They could have 4 people, Donna, with 1,000 yards of production on offense. You're lucky if you get one receiver, one running back. They could have 4 with this crew from Ohio State. So they're favored, to answer your question, by about 9 points, 8.5 points. But Notre Dame has a good football team, but excellent defense. And Donna, we know that turnovers are the key because they give an advantage to somebody. Maybe it's a short field. Maybe you fumble on the 20. Maybe you throw an interception on the 30. And your offense just has to drive the ball that short distance. And so you don't need a lot of yards because it's only 20 or 30 yards from the touchdown, to score a touchdown. So it's always important on those turnovers in most football games, of course, but these big games where the teams are pretty even, fairly even, that's crucial and critical. But if you just play the game out with no turnovers and minimal amount of penalties, Ohio State has the better roster and the better team, but you have to play the game.
Yeah, and we both know from years of experience, especially on your end, you never really know. It's like the weather. No. You don't know who's going to win. So many things can factor into that.
Yeah, there's a trend, if teams turn the ball over. These teams are pretty good with the ball. Like I said, Riley Leonard is a quarterback from Fairhope, Alabama, transferred from Duke. He's athletic. He can run the ball. He's got 500 or 600 yards rushing. He's long-legged down. He can make yards. If he gets a crease in the defense, he's a good passer. They like to throw to the tight end, Mitchell Evans. They have a running back, Jeremiah Love, very good for Notre Dame. He could take it the distance, 80 yards. He's a big play threat. But Notre Dame is the type of team they like to drive the field with a lot of plays and score a touchdown. Whereas Ohio State, they might hit one of those receivers, running back, have a long touchdown run. They're more explosive. But I'm looking for a good game. I like to tell all the folks in South Carolina, Mitch Jeter is the transfer from the University of South Carolina who plays for Notre Dame. Of course, he won the game for him when he had the game-winning field goal against Penn State in the playoffs. So I'm sure they're watching Mitch Jeter, the former kicker from the University of South Carolina. We had a chance to speak with him. And, Donna, you can catch all those interviews that I did. There must have been 11 or 12 of them. It's on my YouTube channels at AP Steadham and at AP As We See It. So we had a chance to visit with them on Saturday, Donna. You get 1 hour, and all the players are available. All the coaches are available. And it's in a room. There's also fans there watching the whole experience, which is fun for them. And then some of the players went to the stands and signed some autographs. But I really enjoyed speaking to the two kickers from Ohio State and Notre Dame and some of the star players. Seth McLaughlin was the center down and played at Alabama last year in the Rose Bowl against Michigan versus Alabama. Transferred to Ohio State, made second team All-American. So he had some success, but he's injured. He won't play in the game. He hasn't played in the playoffs. He got injured, but he did make one of the some All-American teams. So congratulations to Seth McLaughlin, who transferred from Alabama. And then Caleb Downs was star freshman at Alabama safety. He's All-American at Ohio State now, one of their leaders on defense. So there's some SEC flavor on both sides of the ball in this game.
What was the atmosphere like when you were there with the players and the coaches?
Yeah, they're at this point in the season, Don, you get to this championship game, they both have an extreme amount of confidence. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't say they're cocky, but they have confidence that they can win the ball game. They've been through some trials and tribulations, both of them. As I said, Ohio State has a couple of losses, and at the end of the season, lost to their rival at home, Michigan. That was huge disappointment. But they recovered. They beat two SEC teams, Donna, in the playoffs. They beat Tennessee by 25 points in the first game, and they beat Texas by 2 touchdowns in the Cotton Bowl. And, that's pretty difficult. You're playing in the Cotton Bowl. That's in Texas, and Texas is one of the teams. So that was a pretty nice achievement for them to beat the University of Texas in the state of Texas and then reach the College Football Playoff National Championship game. So both teams, they were confident. They were excited. They understood it's a long journey. They understand that they had, some high moments, but there were the low moments as well. But they had resiliency, and they have good quarterback play, good running backs, wide receivers. Defense is solid, kicking game. We know they can turn the game. The kickers, one play into the game. And it's really important to be good that day. I tell people all the time, and I've repeated this many times on your show, if the kicker makes all his attempts during the season, it doesn't matter. It's that day, that kick. That's what matters. That's
it. Now, both teams are great teams, but is there a particular weakness that you saw that could be an advantage to the other team?
Right. I think that sometimes, and I don't think at this point this will happen, Donna, but Ohio State, Ryan Day in the Michigan game, he was rather tight. And so I think his team played was a mirror of his status that day. He was played tight. The play calling was conservative. But I think Ohio State just lets it loose because they have the talent, as I described, the 3 very, very good receivers, 2 excellent running backs, a quarterback, Will Howard, that can have a 300-yard game. Also, he's long like Riley Leonard of Notre Dame, can make yardage on the ground. I think if Ohio State just plays nice and loose and free, don't hold back. And I think they will. But we've seen it in the past, like I said, in that Michigan game where they just were their own worst enemy. I think it wasn't that Michigan was so good; it was that Ohio State was so tight. Mm-hmm. I think Notre Dame, they have to keep the score close because they're not as explosive. If it's 14-0 in the first quarter and I'm a Notre Dame supporter, I would be concerned because they don't have the capability as much as some teams to come from behind and throw the long passes and that type of thing. So that's something I'd watch out for. But I think I'm hoping for a good game. I'm hoping for minimal penalties and no turnovers to see what happens.
This morning, so as I was receiving the emails, by the way, continue sending emails. Appreciate it. Donna@donnasedge.com. I didn't ask for it, but our folks who watched the show were telling me who they thought was going to win.
Oh, I see.
Neck and neck. It's almost 50-50.
The two good football teams. Yeah, the two teams are 1 and 2 defensive scoring. I think it's 12 points for Ohio State, 14 for Notre Dame, or vice versa. But they don't surrender a lot of points defensively. So I'm looking at a game. I'm thinking in the 20s, Don, in the 20s, I think probably. But like I said, they have the top two defenses scoring wise in the country. So that gives you a chance if you can shut down the other team or hold them to a low score, then you have a chance. So that's why I like these two teams.
I only had one obnoxious email, and this was from, I won't even tell you what his name is because that's what he wants me to do, I think. So anyway, he said he is for Alabama and whoever's playing Notre Dame.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that he must be an older gentleman or older person, because Alabama, they had trouble, beating Notre Dame. Coach Bryant never beat Notre Dame. And then Alabama, they hosted Notre Dame in '86 and they beat them. That was a Ray Perkins team at the time. And then with Nick Saban, they played them a couple of times in the playoffs, the championship game in 2000. I think that was the 2012 season. And they beat them rather handily. And then they played them. It was actually in Dallas, Texas. It was, I think, the Rose Bowl, but that was the year that the Rose Bowl did not have a game, and they moved it to Dallas. So the Cotton Bowl and the Rose Bowl was played in Dallas, Texas, Arlington, Texas. So they beat them that time as well. So, but Alabama's had some good fortune against Notre Dame the last few times. But yeah, that person must be have watched those games years ago in the 70s where Alabama had trouble beating Notre Dame. Yeah,
and still holding the grudge. And I bet he still hates Philip Fulmer from Tennessee.
Probably so. I would think so. Yeah, probably so.
Let's go to a commercial break. We'll be right back in just a minute. Everybody hang in there.
Twin City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. At Liberty Bank, we're all about community, whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need. Toys at Christmas or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, we realize the importance of family. Sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you. You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175 or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender. The only place I buy my beef is Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama. Their cattle is born and raised on their ranch, grass and grain fed, and you can feel confident when you serve your family and friends because their beef is all natural and no antibiotics or hormones are added. You can buy whole beef or perhaps go in with family or friends and buy half. Their customer service is number one as they take care of the delivery to their local processor and can deliver to your home for a small added fee. They also offer herd replacement heifers. I always call Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama for my beef specialty recipes and cookouts, and you can too. Food shortages are increasing, so buy local by calling 256-523-6462. That's 256-523-6462.
I'm excited to announce our Christmas extravaganza is finally here. Get this season's flannel sheets for as low as $59.98. They won't last long, so get them while you can. Our famous My Slippers, they haven't been on sale for over a year. Regularly $119.98, now only $59.98. Our 6-piece towel sets are back in stock with extremely limited quantities, only $29.98. With hundreds of MyPillow products, there's something for everyone on your Christmas list. Bathrobes, duvets, quilts, down comforters, and so much more. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save on all MyPillow products. For example, flannel sheets for as low as $59.98, or our 6-piece towel sets, just $29.98. But that's not all. I'm extending our 60-day money-back guarantee until March 1st of 2025. Plus, all orders over $75 or more ship absolutely free.
We're back. My name is Donna, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show, where truth matters. I forgot to tell you about television. You can find us syndicated on Abundant Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And please don't forget the podcast. That's thenewscasters.com. And AP just happens to have a podcast on the Newscaster Studio. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you very much, Donna. Thank you for that assist as well. And yeah, AP as we see it, and we're on the Spotify, the Newscasters, the YouTube channel, AP as we see it, and so we really enjoy it. And thank you so much for all your support and assistance in getting on some of these other platforms.
Always. We like to say we have the best of everything. We have the best. We have the best sponsors. We have the best guests, the best sportscaster guy. So there you go. And you guys are the best audience ever. Thank you so much for that as well. Okay, basketball. You got me. I was one of those I could care less about basketball, and you drug me in, and I'm glad.
Yeah, basketball, Donna. The SEC is having a banner season right now. And you say, well, what does that mean? Well, because you're defeating teams in the non-conference schedule, which helps you when they have the playoffs selection, the committee bands together and they're selecting the team. So this was last week's poll because the poll hasn't come out yet, but we'll give you last week's poll. Auburn was number 1, Alabama number 4, Florida 5, Tennessee 6, Kentucky 8, Texas A&M 11, Mississippi State 15, Ole Miss 21, and Georgia 23. That's on the men's side. So this Donna, basketball is a tournament sport. Mm-hmm. So how are you going to judge at the end of the season? Well, you'd like to have minimum one team in the Final Four from the SEC. With this type of a success, you'd like to see 2 teams in the Final Four. But here it is. What I think it's 9 teams at this point. 9 teams. There's over 350, 360 teams. 9 teams out of the 16 are in the top 25 from the SEC. Mm-hmm. And it's nice. It helps promote the conference, the men's basketball. but it is a tournament sport. So you have to have success in the tournament, at least minimum one. It'll be a huge disappointment. There's not at least one team in the Final Four. You're looking for two. Hey, there's an outside chance if you get hot, three. I mean, that's happened before to a conference. So the basketball is really, having tremendous success. That's on the men's side. The women's side is the same thing. There's 7 teams in the top 25. Last week's poll: South Carolina number 2, LSU number 5, Texas number 7, Kentucky 12, Oklahoma 13, Tennessee 15, Alabama 19. So Donnie, you see some teams, they have the men's and the women's both in the top 25. As I mentioned, some of these universities in the SEC, the men's and the women's programs are flourishing right now.
I'm glad you mentioned that because Amy had a question. This was about women's basketball.
Yeah.
And so she wanted to know if you could give, just do a little study and present more about the women's basketball. And he's going to do that.
Yeah, women's basketball in the SEC, Donnie, you have Dawn Staley's at South Carolina. She's won multiple championships. Then you have Kim Mulkey at LSU. She's won at her prior head coaching position at Baylor. And then she won earlier in her career at LSU. She's only been there a short time. So that's 2 coaches in the same conference that have won national championships. So that's very unique. So yeah, the women's basketball, and they've had programs with you. Tennessee's won many, many championships back with Pat Summitt. So they're coming alive again with their new head coach. Alabama is a team that under Christy Curry, they've been trying to get to this top level. So they're in the top 25. Now they're holding strong in that position. Texas has always been good. They won a championship years ago, but they're, like I say, number 7 in the country. So, and Oklahoma's always been good. They have a new coach the last couple of years. So the SEC men's and women's basketball, very, very strong. I mean, 7 teams in the top 25. And once again, it's a tournament sport. So you want to see at this point, because you have so many in the top 25, you have to have one team in the Final Four. Somebody has to make that Final Four for the SEC to say, hey, we're an excellent conference. I mean, the regular season, it does matter because it helps you get to the tournament, but it's a tournament. Basketball is a tournament sport.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to mention this. My husband is 6'2", and he takes this from his mother. His mother is actually 5'11". She always said she was 5'11 and a half. And back in the day, back in the 1940s, she played basketball.
Yeah, the women's basketball was a different brand, Donna. I'm not sure, but it used to be they thought women couldn't run up and down the court. So they've had it was half court. One part of the team would be on that side, and then the other part of the team would play defense on the other side. But then that evolved through the years. I know that the women's basketball, they started having championships through the NCAA. I think it was 1983 or 4, something around there. Mm-hmm. Before that was a different organization. I forgot the exact letters, but it wasn't with the NCAA. Mm-hmm. So, and they used to have just usually one game per year was on the TV, Donna, and they played their championship when it was on a Sunday. Uh-huh. So that would be broadcast. Mm-hmm. And then now we evolved where every single women's game, the tournament is on TV. There's games, so there's hundreds of games on TV for the women's game in all the conferences around the country, just like the men. And so they kept up. They reached that point where they're on the same level as the men with the television broadcast and exposure. So that's very good. And we've seen the expansion of the audience last year, one of the best. And that happens when you have a superior player, Donna, that Caitlin Clark, she was the one that, because she was highly skilled. And I consider her, she's similar to Steph Curry. In other words, Steph Curry, he doesn't jump the highest. He's not, he can dunk the basketball, but that's not why you watch him. You watch him because he can dribble. He can pass. He shoots from the locker room. I mean, and Caitlin Clark does the same thing. And that's why she has tremendous, tremendous skill. And I think that's what That's what why people gravitated to watch her. It's one thing in men's basketball. Donna, many people can dunk. Okay, so that's not something new. But when you can shoot the ball from nearly half court, and you can dribble around people and through people and pass the ball to assist your teammates where they can score points, and it leads to victories and wins, that captivates the audience when you can do something with the basketball besides just dunk. And a lot of people say, a lot of people are always saying how the women, there are women who can dunk, and some people say, oh well, we don't watch the women's game because they can't dunk. It's frequent. But to me, I'm watching the skills, men's and the women. Who has the most skill? That attracts me.
There are beginning to be a lot of prominent women coaches as well.
Yes.
I'm glad to see that.
Oh yeah, Dawn Staley now. I think she makes $4 million down. I mean, that's way above some men's coaches actually. So, and she has, when she arrived at South Carolina, I'm sure the attendance, I don't know what it was exactly, but now they're selling out games. They're attracting the television audience. There's a huge following. And so she's earned that salary. She put South Carolina at the top.
Absolutely. A couple of minutes left before we have to go into call it a day. And got AP Steadham with me right now. AP, so of course we know that Auburn right now is holding on at number 1 in basketball. We're glad to see that. So who do you see because there's somebody that can displace them? I mean, as far as what's going on right now, because I know it changes every week.
Right. Yeah, basketball, Donna, you have a loss or two, they'll drop you down, then you'll move up, and so it goes back and forth.
Correct.
Like I said, it's nice to be in the poll. I think it helps you when you're discussing recruiting with high school players or transfers. They realize that, because basketball, like I said, 360 teams, it's a high number. Football is just 134. So basketball, when you have so many teams and there's only 25 spots and you're in the top 25, that's significant. So it goes back and forth. But like I said, you're trying to play your best, win those non-conference games so you attract the attention of the selection committee, do well in your conference. Some coaches, they don't care anything about winning the conference tournament. Some coaches like to win the conference and the conference tournament so they can say, hey, we did something twice. We won the conference tournament and we won the regular season championship. So they hold that in high regard. But you're moving towards the tournament. Are we getting better so we can play in the tournament? That's the main goal.
Absolutely. AP, as we see it, what's on with your show this coming week?
Yeah, we're going to probably wrap up the college football with this championship in Atlanta between number 7 Notre Dame versus number 8 Ohio State. We'll probably discuss some of the things happening in the SEC football. The transfer portal, Donna, it's so difficult to gauge and project who will be good because they have, let's say, 10, 15, maybe even 20 transfers coming on the roster, and you just don't know how they're going to be incorporated into the system. So yeah, we'll probably talk some basketball. So probably.
Absolutely. AP, thank you so much for being with me again today. You the best.
Hey, thank you, Donna. Thank you so much. My pleasure.
And we appreciate you folks watching. You can always find us also on the internet. Phil's always saying, can you not mention the internet? It's donnasedge.com, donnasedge.com. And again, go ahead and make sure you key in with AP because he has a huge Facebook following as well and YouTube, the whole works. AP, thank you again for being on the show. And thank you guys so much for watching. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the day.